Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. And this time, I once again wish to share a conversation that had taken place between myself and a lot of other people with regards to me understanding or me trying to understand as to what is it about life and living and people themselves that brought meaning into their existential life, that brought a sense of value into their own living, into their own lives. What was it about somebody that made them come truly alive, that wanted them to truly and completely live life, dive into life, explore life, and to live a bigger life? So I had asked this question in context to understanding all of these things, and I had asked the question that if somebody was to come and tell you that today was your last day or is going to be your last day, and 10 p.m. it would be the last breath that you took in this physical body, what is it that you would truly do that would truly matter to you? What is it that you would do that would make you come alive, that would want you to explore life, to dive into life? So, a lot of people answered or reverted back saying that they would connect with their loved ones either together on a collective basis. They would get all the people together, and that they would spend time together with their friends, family, and loved ones. There were some others who said that they would connect to their own people on an individual level, like spend one-on-one time with their own people. There were few others who said that they would be eating to their heart's content whatever they had been denied of eating or prohibited on eating, because now they get to have that chance to eat to their heart's content. Somebody also said that they would be letting their loved ones know as to the kind of investments that they had made and where they had made the investments and how they can make it better for themselves in their future lives. There were few others who also said that they would be rebooting their laptop, that they would be rehauling their laptops, and or they would be erasing out a lot of stuff from their laptops. There were some others who said that they would be destroying their phones, which also said a lot about their personal and interpersonal relationships. Um, some even said that they would be sharing certain things or certain secrets about themselves with their own people, so that those people or those loved ones would come to know of themselves as the people that they are, and not really in context to just the relationship that they shared. So those people would be knowing them as the person that they were, and not just through the context of a relationship. There were a few others who said that they would be drinking a lot, that they would lose their heads drinking. Somebody also said that they would work, and then they would spend the rest of the day with their family. Somebody also said that they knew that they aren't going to die, which also said a lot about how people take life for granted as well. And a lot of us do that. We always look for a tomorrow, an expectation of a tomorrow, that tomorrow is going to be there and that I'm going to be there tomorrow as well. And all of the people that I care for or that I see on a daily basis are still going to be there by me. So, yeah, it showed that side of themselves and their expectations of life. There were few others who said that they would just sleep off to death. Some people said that they would dance off to death, and there were some youngsters who said that they would be willing to do stuff that they have never done before, or they would be willing to do things that they are scared of doing. And when my daughter came to know about this particular question, she was a little disappointed in me, and she asked me as to why did I not share this question with her, because I generally have the tendency to share a lot of things with her. So and she asked me as to was I scared that or was I scared of hearing the answer, and I told her no, but it just did not strike me that I should be sharing this with you, or that I had completely forgotten about her while sharing this particular question with a lot of other people. And that struck a chord with me, because I was like, yeah, I did share this, wanting to understand this about a lot of other people, barring my own daughter, barring my own person. And yeah, so that was one understanding. And second was when I did ask her as to what would it be that she would do if that was to be the scenario with her. So she said that she would be doing something that scares her, and she would also do something that she's afraid of doing. And that brought before me two different contexts, which was to say that she would be doing stuff which is physically challenging, emotionally challenging, and mentally challenging, which is also to say that she was willing to go out of her own comfort zones physically, emotionally, and mentally. And there were a few other 15 to 20-year-olds in the age group of 15 to 20. They came with similar responses. And I was quite surprised to notice that these youngsters were willing to dive into life, literally dive into life, wanting to shed their fears if this was the last chance they got to live life as of today, that they were willing to move out of the comfort zones. While most of the grown-ups in the age group of 25 to 65 were still not willing to leave their comfort zones, were still wanting the cocoon of that comfort, and not wanting to embrace life completely. They were not willing to dive into life, to walk in life, wanting to live life if this was the last chance that they got to live. They were willing to embrace life and leave behind their fears, drop their fears, just like that. And most grown-ups weren't willing to do that. Which also brings me to another point, where Maya Angelou had made this beautiful quote, or had said long time back, that you only do what you learn till you learn better. So I learned something from these 15 to 20-year-olds, and I learned better. I learned that in order to live, you've got to dive into life and be willing to embrace it completely, and to understand that it is fragile, that it just goes away in a snap. And if you do not dive into it, you can never experience it completely. Also, a few days back, one of my ex-bosses, a wonderful man, a gem of a person, had shared this beautiful video with me, which was showcasing the work that Dean Schindler, Dean Schindler has been doing. And this is talking of a man who was financially very successful. He was running an An organization of 45 people earning in millions, driving a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, and having a so called successful life, and yet feeling very unfulfilled. So, after receiving this video from my ex-boss, I happened to Google upon Dean, and I went through few podcasts of him, and after hearing him, I was kind of surprised to understand that here was this man who was very, very successful, and yet felt that his life was more or less meaningless, that he wasn't connecting with his life in the way that he wanted to. He wasn't feeling fulfilled at the end of every day. That yes, he was successful, that yes, he was driving a Ferrari and a Lamborghini that everybody else wanted, but at the end of the day, it just felt that those were just like any other things that he had, and that life at the end of it, at the end of the day, was not giving him that kind of a satisfaction, that kind of a fulfillment, that kind of wholesomeness that he truly desired for himself. So after leaning into his passions, after understanding what he was passionate about and what brought him truly alive, he started leaning in towards the discomforts. He started leaning in towards playing with the wild, towards living or wanting to live in South Africa and completely relocating himself into a different place, into a different culture, into a different climate, into a different zone, into a different life altogether. And he was willing to do it because while his experience with the wild, he realized that that brought him alive. And even if it meant that his physical life can be put in danger, and that if he took this step, he would be placing his life in physical danger all the time, he was willing to take that step because that was something that brought him truly alive, because that was also something that made him realize that life was beautiful in its fragilities, that life was beautiful when it wasn't certain, because that is when you start to truly value life and hold meaning for life, and not only life in this human body, life in every form is valued. That you start to understand the interconnectedness of every life form, and that you realize that even if it is fragile, even if it just goes in a snap, once you understand that, and once you start leaning in towards your passions and letting go of your fears, that is when you truly bring in more meaning. That is when you truly start dropping off your fears behind. That is when you start to come truly alive, and which is what he exactly did. So yes, the rational brain did tell him that it is dangerous, and there were a lot of other people who did also tell him that it is dangerous to play with the lions, to play with the hyenas, to go and sleep with the lions, to wake up amongst the lions, to be playing with the hyenas and the other wilderness around. But he was willing to let go of his fears. He was willing to lean in towards his fears so that he understands himself better, so that it gives more meaning and more purpose and value towards his own life and the lives of others, even if they were animals, even if it was wild. And that dropping off the fear and moving into the place of openness opened his love for everything else that existed with him in that wilderness. So yeah, from my daughter and from receiving this video and going through the video and hearing Dean talk about a lot of other things, I came to understand that we will only come alive and we will only have meaning in our life if we are willing to dive in life. In all its darkness and all its light, in all its glory and all its mystery, until we are willing to do that, until we are willing to shed off those fears, and until we are willing to dive into the mystery, to unravel the mystery of life, we cannot truly come alive. So let's try and dive and lean in a little more into our fears so that we start unraveling the mysteries of life, so that we start to truly come alive. So let's do that a little more often. Let's try and understand our own selves and our own connectedness to life as it exists in this framework and that exists outside of this framework. Let's try and do that. And let's try to live a more wholesome life, a life that truly brings meaning and value to our own existence. Let's try and do that, and I will see you once again next week. Till then, stay tuned in.